Hi everyone, I hope you all are great and I hope that you're good today. Today we will have sentence creation. First, you have to log in using the eplusevent.com. Click on your name, move on to language at the grade 3. In the chapter sentence creation, the lesson will be order the words to create a sentence based on the model. Alright, so we will start now. Sentences are made up of different parts that follow a pattern. So basically, it's just telling us that every sentence are made up of different parts and they follow a certain pattern. The standard order for declarative sentence, which is a statement, is subject, verb, object. Words that tell where or when often come at the end of the sentence. So basically, we have this box. So we have the subject, verb, object, where or when. Now, Erin baked a cake. Now, this isn't a very full and complete sentence. Even though it's a complete sentence, it doesn't follow the normal standard. Elephants live with their family. It has when, where, or when, but it doesn't have the objects. But when you look at the last sentence, we have my brother Marcus will read the book at the library. Now, this particular sentence has both the subject, the verb, the object, and the where or when. So basically, it follows the complete pattern for declarative sentence, so the standard order. Remember, all sentences start with a capital letter and end with a punctuation like a period. So we have the period like this, just the dot sign that we have when we end a sentence. Or sometimes it depends on how the sentence come. It could be what exclamation if the sentence is showing like a strong feeling. Right? So basically we just need to note that every sentence has a certain pattern that it follows, and this is the standard order for the sentence. Let's look at some examples. Okay. All right, so we have put the titles in order to make a sentence. So you have to arrange these titles to make a complete sentence. So this is basically sentence creation. So we have the subject, which is Mrs. Young, and we have the verb, which is grabbed, and the object, which is the hammer. So Mrs. Young grabbed the hammer. So BCACD. All right, so this is the right order for the sentence. Okay, so we have put the titles in order here. A beard, my dad is growing. Okay, and then the the fourth one is the period. Remember that we always need to have a period, so we can say my dad is growing a beard with a period, the D. Okay, so we also have reflect, a mirror, light waves, and period. Okay, so a mirror reflects light wave. So subject, verb, and object. All right, so let's move on to the test. You can share your answers with me if you know them. Okay, Okay, so put the titles in order to make a sentence. The hammer Mrs. Kramer grabbed dash. So you have to arrange them in order and then tell me what you think is the right answer. All right, so we have BCAD. So Mrs. Kramer grabbed the hammer, period. Okay, so this is sentence creation. All insects six legs have. Which one? Arrange this in the right order, including the period. All right, so all insects have six legs. So the first one. So we have reflect a mirror light wave. Which of them? Right, or arrange it in order and then you send to me. All right, so we have a mirror reflects light wave. Okay. A beard is growing my dad. What's the right order here? All right, so we have my dad is growing a beard. Pablo dash dash dash. So is studying Pablo world history. What's the right order? All right, so Pablo is studying world history. Took my other the waiter. Arrange it in other. Okay, so the waiter took my other. So we have this one, the first. Three sides a triangle has. So what's the right order for this sentence creation? Okay, so we have a triangle has three sides. Okay, so yeah, that is it for the first lesson. If you haven't done this lesson before, you have to make sure that you try to complete that. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, but if you haven't done this, make sure to do that later on in your free time. So we move on to create a sentence based on the model. To make your writing more interesting, you have to try to use a mix of different kinds of sentences. That is when you want to make your writing interesting. You can learn to make new kinds of sentences by so you can learn to make new kinds of sentences by imitating sentences that you read. Okay, so from the past sentence that you've read, you can imitate them and then create your own sentence. To imitate a model sentence, first look at its form or pattern. Ask what sort of words, phrases, and clauses the sentence uses and what order they are in. Then create a new sentence following the same pattern. So if you want to imitate a model sentence, you have to look at the words, the phrases. So these are all the things that you have to look at. Clauses, okay? So once you look at all this, and you check what order the sentence was made in, then of course you can create a new sentence following the same pattern. Okay. So for example, we have a model sentence. The mouse's name was Tucker, and he was sitting in the opening of an abandoned drain pipe in the subway station at Times Square. So George Selden, the cricket in Times Square. Copyright 1960. Okay, so look at this sentence here. You have seen this model sentence. So you can create a new sentence from it. All right. So you say the old ship is called Old Ironside and it can be seen in a dry dock at a museum in Charlestown, Massachusetts. So, as you can see, we followed the first sentence and we made our own to look similar. Like we said, the mouse's name was Stalker, and here we have the old ship is called Old Ironside. So you can also see the comma, and it can be seen, and he was sitting in the opening of an abandoned drain in a dry dock. So you can see the similarities. It's not exactly the same, but there are some similarities. Both sentences use and to make a compound sentence. They also both use words like in and at to help where to tell where the subject is. Okay, so you can see that they use and to make a compound sentence. They also use words like in and at to tell where the subject is. So you can see that there's a bit of similarities from the model sentence to the new sentence. Okay, so in this particular lesson, we will be making new sentences from the model sentence. Not exactly, but you can get some little hints from the main sentence. Okay. All right, so let's look at some of the sentences. So read the model sentence from Tony's about the Jenny King. So the instant Neil's eyelid drop, his text, his friend Julie, the entire classroom around him, and the whole bustling school bustling schools seem to vanish. So you have to use the words and phrases to create a new sentence that matches the model. So we have jump to their feet the minute I made the basket, my parent, my brother, and my coach. You can see some similarities, even though this is about school and then this is having to do with the family, but there's some similarities. So it is the minute I made the basket, my parents, my brother, and my coach jumped to their feet. Okay, so you can see that there's some similarities. So we have she usually hid the kitten in her arms and he expected her to hold him now. So we have my dad and I often played chess after dinner and but tonight I wanted to do something else. So you can see that there are some similarities between the model sentence and the new sentence that you formed. All right, today is the first day of school. And right now, we are just waiting around for the teacher to hurry up and finish the sitting chart. So, what would be the other? We have this is the warmest day of the year, so we are hoping for our neighbor to let us swim in her pool. Okay, so let's move on to the test, and you can share your answers with me. Okay, so yeah, this is the same like the tutorials, the same question. So we had the minute I made the basket. So it's gonna be BCAD. Okay. So this is basically same from the tutorials. Alright, so she usually held the kitten in her arms and he expected her to hold him now. So but tonight I wanted to do something else. After dinner my dad and I often played chess. So we have what? It's also from tutorials. My dad and I often play chess, so it's from C after dinner. But tonight I wanted to do something else. Okay. Since I'm such a picky eater, my mother feeds me peanut butter sandwich at every meal, including breakfast and midnight snack. So we have used the words and phrases to create a new sentence that matches the model. My guide dog comes with me everywhere, including school and summer camp, since I can't see. So, what is the right order for this one? So, we have A. So, the director raised one hand and the scoreboard lit up with a point for Mallory. So, with a pressing hunger, the cook stirred the pot and we licked our lips. So, you have to create a new sentence here. All right, so we have the cook stirred the pot and we licked our lips with a pressing hunger. So BCAD. She usually held the kitten in her arms and he expected her to hold him now. So what's the right order for this one? You can have a look and tell me. Okay, so we have ACBD. Okay. All right, so we have someone should tell you not to answer the phone in the principal office if that's a rule. If that's your custom before coming into your house, you should ask people to remove their shoes. So, what is the right order for this one? Okay, so we have CBAD. Okay. So the director raised one hand and the scoreboard lit up with a point for Mallory. So the cook stirred the pot with a pressing hunger and we licked our lips. What's the order? So we have ACBD. Anyways, that's it for our lesson under sentence creation. Please try to complete this lesson if you haven't done it before. Tell me on the chat if you have any questions. Do you guys have any question? All right, since we have no questions, we'll end here. See you all next time. Have a good weekend. Bye.